Hello, everyone. It's Katrina and Tim.
Hey, everybody. It's good to be talking to you again. We got a story to tell.
We love stories, things that happen in our everyday life that we get to have lessons ourselves with and share with you on things that might encourage you as well. So this is going to be fun.
This one is a follow-up to Narrow Path number 11. You'll recall, if you didn't listen to that one, that this was a very excited announcement that God was answering our prayers for our health by having the put it upon somebody's hearts that has a supplement company to help us, and their readers and their supporters, and they went the extra mile and wanted to really help us because they heard in their podcast how sick our family was. And that was March 23rd. I recorded that because it was the day that they had us fill out surveys, and we got them to them on our symptoms, and they were going to get on that and let their experts look at the information and decide what to suggest for us and give to us. So that was really exciting. I knew that this was an answer to prayers. My birthday was coming up on the 26th, the following Monday. And the day they made a video of these two experts on health to go through the whole family's questionnaires of symptoms, and they gave us a diagnosis. Well, it's based on symptom profile. That's probably not the right word, but they gave their suggestions of what to do, and sounded really good. So we're really excited. And so then the next step was to send the supplements, and that took some time. They were waiting to get us these very good newer ones that they were releasing, some excellent new products that sound exciting as well. I'm glad they waited, actually. I'm really, right?
Yeah.
They told us what they were adding in, these two new ones. One's for your intestinal flora, basically, but it's more than just a probiotic. Another one for the immune system. I still don't know much about that. And it's like, wait, from Australia to Germany, take the time to get us the best. So that was great. It took them, I think, until April 3rd to finally get everything together and ship it to us. And that was okay. Right.
That was because they were still producing the new stuff and wanted to include us. So we're thankful for that. And, it's been exciting ever since, just the thought of it, years of having chronic.
Yeah. And this is the thing. I really felt when I made that recording on March 23rd, Friday, that this was God's answer to my prayers for decades for my health and your health.
And Zachary being more stable.
And Zachary was in the hospital because his immune system wasn't the best. And we know we need some help for him too. Even if we don't get the full healing for autism yet, we need him to stabilize. So we needed help for him. So that was the 23rd. And then the day that they actually recorded the video with the suggestions for us, we had the time with the experts for our family, especially only, was my birthday. It was March 26th. So I really felt like this was my birthday present from God, that I had been saying for a little while, that I know my 50th birthday to expect something. And I don't make a big deal about my birthday. We usually don't have a party, don't have people over. It's just how I am. But this time I said, I need to do something about this birthday. It's the 50th, it's significant. And it's just time to do something with this one. I was right. That was the day that they got these two wonderful experts to talk about our family and give us expert help.
It was really special. We actually had a couple people over here that were good friends of the family too, that were here that got to celebrate that with us and be a part of that. So it was really meaningful. Yeah,
it was great. Yep. So we've been waiting ever since, patiently, knowing that this is coming, and we just have to wait because not that it takes a long time from Australia to Germany. It's just a few days with DHL. But I've had experience with customs, and the Germans are notorious for papers, please, your papers. And I've had run-ins before when I bought the treadmill and the walking desk with them thinking I was military, and I'm not military. But if you're military, you get an exemption, and they want you to prove you're military, so you have to come, show the papers, and then you don't pay all the import taxes of, it's upwards of 20% on the shipping and the value of the product. So I had to say, no, I'm going to pay this. I don't have an exemption. Please just send the courier with the bill so I can pay it and have my product. That's what I had to do last time. Well, Friday, so we're recording this here. It's Monday. Friday, was the estimated delivery date by 10 o'clock. And we're excited. We're telling the people in Australia, yeah, it's supposed to be coming. So thanks a lot. We'll let you know when we get it. You know how that goes. And I'm looking at the thing. It didn't look right because it didn't say it was at the local town yet of Nuremberg, which is the DHL's local hub for this area. And that I've seen that happen before, and it still came, but they didn't update it. And then 10 o'clock comes and there's nothing. And then there's like the other shoe drops, basically, that there's a fault. There's a delivery fault, basically. Not that we weren't home and they tried, but unable to deliver. We need more paperwork. Contact DHL. So the next morning I called them up, and my attitude at that point was, it's okay. I expected this. It would have been nice to get it on Friday before the weekend, but this is not my first rodeo. We've
lived overseas and dealt with customs in 2 countries now, and we know things come up. So it's part of not living in the United States.
Yeah. So I handled that fine, and because you may be saying, well, maybe he's being denial. No, I handled that fine because I've done this before. It gets worse though. So you'll see I did have some emotional thing, which is why I'm sharing all this for your benefit, to understand that we go through these things in life too, just like you do, and we have to practice what we preach, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I told the shippers there in Australia on Saturday what was going on, and what happened when I called up is they said, we need to know the value of the product, and we need to know what the contents exactly are. So we need this, basically fill out this form, and what's your email? I'm going to email it to you. And I'm like, okay, can I wait on the phone while you send that, please? So make sure you got my email right. And we did that. It came in, and I immediately forwarded it to Australia. And Australia's sleeping at that point. And chatted with them during the night and the morning. And they said, yeah, we'll take care of this. Monday morning, I'll get my people on it, and they'll fill this form out. They'll take care of whatever this. Just forward the email to me, and they'll take care of it. And I said, okay, great. Monday morning today came. And I find out that they're telling me, just talk to DHL myself and tell them something. Tell them what. It wasn't clear from the email what I tell them. I didn't understand that response because the Germans are notorious. If they want their papers, you got to give them their papers.
You can't just say something nice.
You can't say, they already filled this out. Go find it. They obviously didn't have what they need. And what I was hearing from Australia was, that we gave them what they need, and there's nothing more for us to do that we see. So, which I was very puzzled. I didn't understand. Like, I gave them the email with the information, and they think it's already taken care of, but they didn't say in the email, and we did what the email contained, and we did that. They just said kind of vaguely, it's taken care of. So I said, this doesn't sound right. This is not right. I don't know how we're miscommunicating, but something's not going on right here. So we just prayed about it. We chatted with them, and they got everyone involved. They had conference calls over in Australia to make sure that, and they even had a customs broker. This is the most amazing thing. A customs broker was handling this as well. And they got everyone involved, and the answer was to just contact my local DHL office and see what they want. Which was a reasonable thing. I didn't understand it until finally I got to talk to the sponsor that was doing all this for me. And finally, we prayed some more. Katrina and I prayed. I was admittedly getting bothered. I wasn't like losing my peace, but it was just very confusing. It's like
all the communication was just wrong.
Saturday, I gave them the information. Australia's 8 hours ahead, so that means Monday morning they can have that stuff done in Australia, sent to me. I can get it to them. here, and there's a good chance like Tuesday we'll get this delivery because they'll have it on Monday and they can process it, and then Tuesday can get on the truck. So I was expecting that all to be just run with precision very well. And somehow the answer I got back was not what I expected. So I was like, what did I do wrong? What did we miss? This doesn't make sense.
It's not moving smooth. It's just not functioning.
So I don't go into blaming other people. I've learned a long time ago, when people are giving you a gift like this, you don't complain about it. You don't, a lot of times when people, what happens is if someone says they're going to do something for you, or they're promising you maybe a piece of furniture, and then they change their mind, we kind of get the expectation of that they're going to do this and they're going to do this well and they're going to give it to you. So if they change their mind and then they don't give that to you, it bothers you, right? Like, oh, what's going on? You said you're going to give it to me. Now you're keeping it. And that actually happened to me with someone. I've had many people over the years that had said, I really love your teachings and I want to help you with your ministry with this or that, my voiceover work, my website work, my graphic work, you name it. And like out of over 10 that have said that, only one person who had come through actually with that, which is why we have the support team.
Out of many years.
Yeah.
How many years has it been?
Since 1999, I had a website. So almost 20 years. And so you go through those emotions of feeling entitled. Well, you said you were going to help me, and I got my hopes up because I really could use help with graphics or with my website or with whatever, and then they don't come through. They get busy, right? They get excited about my teachings, and then life caught up, and they really didn't have the capacity to give the way they wanted to.
They had the heart, but they really couldn't back it up.
They were not really successful enough to give in that way. And the guy that helped me with the support team, theme for my WordPress and all that stuff, he actually has a successful business with doing websites for people, and he had people working for him, and he could put some resources towards me, and it really changed our life.
It really helped a lot. Very thankful. That saved us.
Yeah. Our sales, like I told in the podcast and the support team, our sales were going down so badly that I prayed to God, what do we do? And, do I get a job? That was on the table, right?
It was.
Does Katrina get a job? Do we both get jobs? And then, one thing led to another, and people spoke into my life saying, get yourself a membership group. If you do a membership group, I'll sign up. Someone said that to me. I was like, okay. No one ever says, do this and I'm going to give you money for it. I'm going to be your first customer. No one ever says that. That's God. And that's what I did. And then the rest is history. We've been going now over a year, and it's been just a huge blessing for everybody. So this person in Australia, with the business and supplements, he was like that type of person. He had it on his heart to help us, but things were not going well is the point. And I had learned through all of these experiences not to have any feelings towards him or feelings towards God, definitely least of all, but just to take it to prayer and say, what's going on? What else? What are we missing? What can we do about this? Because this makes no sense. I thought I communicated clearly. I thought the task was clear and they could do it. And it just didn't get understood and it didn't get done somehow.
And that's when you feel out of control.
Yeah.
That's when you want to try to get even more control and maybe be on top of people and on top of situations and try to push things through and figure it out really hard and be intense about it. And that's the hardest time to actually stop and say, admit that you're out of control, and ask for help from God and say, I've done my part. I really don't know what to do at this point, and I can just get obnoxious if I go any further. I need some clarity. So
we went to bed last night, and the last thing I did that popped in my head after we prayed again was it said on the form that I saw on my end from DHL, it was quite scary. The Germans, they're tough. It said, fill out this paperwork and get it back to us by Tuesday, April 10th, tomorrow. And I got it on Saturday, and now it's Monday. And but I got that to them. I sent a message to the person in Australia saying, by the way, after we prayed, I thought I'm going to tell them one more thing. That form that I sent to you, I hope you saw, it says we got to get this done by 2 days, where they're going to send the package back. And I know that none of us want that to happen, wait, because they don't give you the customs back. They don't give you the shipping back. They just give the product back, right? So that worked. That got his attention. That not that he was not making this serious. He got his attention that there's a form that's missing here that says something about a date which he did not see. And if we don't figure this out, there's going to be
a lot of loss.
Everyone's going to be crying. So within a few hours, we were chatting on Messenger, and he said, send that to me again. Send me that form again that you had. Because the other time he forwarded the email I got from him without looking at it.
To his department.
And we saw on Gmail has this funny thing where when you forward a message in Gmail, it will hide it from you. It trims it and just shows 3 ellipses, 3 dots and ellipse as a button that you have to click to see the forwarded text of your email. And I had to show him in some screenshots there. I think this is what happened, that I forwarded it to you and then you got it and it forwarded to them, and it was hiding the form, the body text. So we figured that out. We sent it again, and he got it this time. And then everything shifted. His shipping head got on it. He understood, okay, we've got this information. We'll get it figured out, and today was a day of great communication ever since then, talking to the customs broker. I got an email out of the blue during all this. I got an email from DHL military, the military branch of DHL, saying, we want you to tell us if you're military, if you're going to come to Frankfurt with the form that shows you're military, so you can get your product and not pay customs.
Frankfurt is like 3 hours away.
Yeah,
right?
Wherever it was, Leipzig or Frankfurt. I had 2 choices of where to go. Or number 2, you can accept, without having this form, you can accept to pay all the duties and then claim your product, and we'll send it through the courier to collect the duties from you and give you the product. So I wrote back to him, yes, number 2, I'm not military, and can you please help me? This is the second time that DHL has held up my package thinking that I'm military, and I'm not military. So is it because my address is in some database? Do you think you can maybe find out and take me off that database? Because this is not working for me. So that came in, and I sent that to Australia, and then things are really happening now. They're communicating with them that no, they're going to pay the customs and the duties. So just please, work with us and get it to us and get the package to Tim. So so that's the story. That's why things got delayed. We should have had our package on Friday, but we really weren't going to because of that military thing. It wasn't Australia's fault. Theoretically, we could have got it tomorrow, Tuesday, once this information that they needed got requested and then handled. Realistically, now it looks like Wednesday, best case, we're going to get it. And I take the blame for this. What happened was when I forwarded that, I could see that there was those 3 dots happening in my Gmail as I was, when I looked at the sent folder. Did it go through? I wanted to check that he got it. I had to click the little ellipsis button to open up and see the form that I sent him for him to fill in. And he was getting it in Gmail, and I was expecting it would hide it for him too, but he would see it and click it. But not everyone's that technical. And I mean, you would think if he forwarded it didn't matter if he clicked it. I still don't know what happened with Gmail and that, but he forwarded it and the other people didn't see it. They just saw this email that says DHL wants more information. There was a PDF saying my address and the shipping and way bill number. And to them, it looked like, well, what they're saying they want, they already have, and we gave them everything, so we don't see anything to do here. So that's what was happening on their end.
It's really interesting, though, what you're saying, that you take the fault yourself. It was like you didn't just decide to, who's to blame for this. You didn't start going after trying to who's to blame and get angry about, who's falling down on their job. You stayed open just to see what the stuff is, and for you to just decide to, I take my part and see that you had a part, but you didn't even know you had a part in it. It's not like anyone did anything on purpose. Everyone had good intentions. That was really cool that you could see that.
Well, I've learned with all of these years of writing that you as a communicator have to take responsibility for your communication and how clear and effective it is. When I sent that email straight forward in Gmail without any additional verbiage, I was relying on everything to go smoothly and someone to be able to see what was there, click the button, look at it carefully. When I sat down and realized that I learned from this is the importance in our communication to be redundant and extra clear. I thought sending the email would be enough. They'd see the form and say, oh, there's blanks in the form. This is to be filled out. What I wish I had done as I sat here, after I realized, I just sat in the chair. It was actually a deja vu moment. When I realized all this stuff that is delaying our package over the weekend, really, when I sent them on Saturday, this information, it wasn't clear. That's when I forwarded it. So here we are Monday, and they're just starting on getting the information to DHL. I realized I think I could have prevented this if I had just been redundant in my communication and said, when you forward, it gives you a chance to actually put some text above what you're forwarding. And if I'd said, see attached the PDF with the shipping, waybill information, and in the body of this email, see the form that needs to be filled in, and then forwarded back to the email of DHL that there was a special Leipzig email for that branch. So if I had done that, it would have been more redundant in people are going fast. Someone like this guy who's head of a company and he's doing us a great favor. He's got a family. He's got other things going on. Whatever you can do with communication to help people to see what you need them to see with less searching and with less mental focus, the better.
Yeah, that takes a lot of thought to do, though.
It's a habit. So this really bothered me because I was so excited about these supplements, and because I didn't put a few lines of text, it didn't even cross my mind. But if I had the foresight to put those few lines of text with the forward to make it very clear, look for this in the body,
it would have been easier on everyone.
This would already been done. It would be probably coming tomorrow because DHL would have the information already today. So I'm not beating myself up about it or anything like that. But when I sat in the chair and was realizing what I did or didn't do, and that we're in this situation, that it's not just I'm not getting supplements. All these people were involved, scratching their heads. What's going on? Why is Tim's not getting his shipment? And why are they saying they need more information for us when we don't see anything that they need? I mean, I don't know how half a dozen people were involved in this thing. And so I felt really bad about that. And I felt bad, of course, that we were delaying everything for us. And I was sitting in the chair when I realized all this, that it was my lack of clarity in my information that caused all this. And it was just such a simple thing that it was to miss that in communication, to make it extra clear. It was the same moment, like I've told in another podcast, of getting this walking desk and treadmill, that when this came in, it was the same thing. I was very excited, and I talk about this in the podcast. And in the podcast for the supporters, I talk about how there were 3 different gifts that came with this treadmill besides the exercise and healthier lifestyle it gives you. I had an incident that I talk about where I plugged in the 110 volts treadmill into a 220 volt outlet. And
you know what happens when you do something like that.
Yeah, it happens to every American that comes to Germany. They blow some appliance. It's not my first one either. So I was being careful. But if you're going fast, and it's a very similar thing. What I didn't do, knowing that this is $1,000 piece of equipment, or $600 for the treadmill, what I didn't do, as soon as I got that device and got the cords on the power strip and got my little switches and everything set up, what I should have done and what I was planning on doing was to put a little label on that outlet saying treadmill cord 110 volts, do not plug into German plug without transformer. Why? I mean, I know that, but someone can come into the house, someone could be here while I'm not here, or I can make a mistake and not know which chord I'm doing. And that's what happened. I got a laptop for my son. I was setting it up over here and plugging it in, unplugging the speakers that also work with 220 or 110 to plug in the laptop. And then when I was done, I said, I'm going to plug those speakers back in. I grab a cord, I plug in, I hear a pop, and it's the treadmill. And it was that moment of, oh no, did I just do what I think I did? It's never done that sound before when I plug in the speakers. So it's not the speakers, it's the treadmill. And it was the same moment. I didn't put communication on the cord to myself, my future self, Tim in the future going fast. I didn't love myself with that extra safety label on that cord, so I would not do that. And so it was a deja vu moment sitting in the chair is why I say that. That same thing. I didn't put enough communication to make it, bulletproof, you could say, in that forwarded email. And so it cost me. It cost all these other people on the other side a lot of time and wondering, what's going on, what did we do wrong, and what's going on with DHL. And so it's just, not everyone will react this way, I understand. But I'm very introspective. And when I see a pattern like that, like I didn't communicate myself with the treadmill, I didn't communicate here clearly with this. I'm a communicator, I'm writing stuff. And so it's very, very big lesson for me. It really hit home that I'm not beating myself up. I don't feel a lot of remorse. I just feel like a loss to everybody involved because I didn't have the foresight to put that clearer communication, redundant communication.
Well, and we prayed as well, because when things weren't working, we prayed and blessed everyone. We made sure everyone was blessed and asked Father to get involved and help us to figure out what was going on. And he definitely helped us. And we believe that he blesses everyone. So, when we practice on one another and we're not perfect, there isn't anyone that's perfect. Of course, we're going to affect people.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be for the good.
Yep.
So we have to realize that we have to have patience on ourselves and when we make mistakes, and also have patience within situations that aren't working, that other people may be making mistakes, and not make it about the loss as much as the space for God to be able to show up and fix what seems broken.
Yeah.
And so we had the opportunity to really do that and believe that up front in the middle of the situation, which I think is really hard to do when you're emotional and you're very disappointed. So I think that we stayed slow. We do our work. All the stuff that we share, we do our work. We stay slow. We feel what's going on, and we start going into asking for help when we really need it. And
that's the pattern. That's how we do it. So we got to practice that. And Katrina pointed out that, it's always things that we're very attached to that we feel strongly about. Like, as I said in that other podcast, we're very excited about these supplements. We thank these people in Australia, these supporters, and we were really looking forward to it. So that's why it was such a strong blow to realize that I cost everyone.
It's going to help us feel better and be able to do things better.
Yeah,
and
it's going to support everyone.
Especially Zachary to be more stable, because it takes a lot of work to help someone who's special needs who isn't stable. And the other thing, the excitement, it's exactly the same thing. This treadmill was an excitement to take care of your health, because you spend hours and hours and hours producing things for supporters, for people, both free newsletters and everything else. And your health was really a concern of not being able to have as much exercise as you needed. So
yeah, I saw it as a gift from God. We were able to buy that last year because the support team started to really explode, and we were getting enough support. And I'm very stingy with money. It would never spend that much on anything. I got a desk, I got a chair, and a computer. I can work, but we were making some extra money that month, and I said, yeah, it's time to take care of my health with this. And I felt like it was a gift from God. And, God confirmed I could get it. And then all of these lessons came attached to it. 3 different things happened that taught me about being out of control. That's in that supporter podcast on disconnection from God's support cast, I think, where we talk about it. But it's funny how these things that I get strongly attached to and feel like they're presence from God, that these lessons are coming attached to them. I see the pattern that I had some really great spiritual lessons from this treadmill and desk not working. Both of them had failures. And now these supplements, there was a failure of the communication, a failure of them to get here in a timely manner. And I feel like God is doing it again. He's using something that's a wonderful gift physically to give a spiritual gift as well. And I see the pattern. Maybe you don't see it, but to me, it's undeniable.
Nice. Well, it actually makes me think about the pattern in Scripture, right? Because the children of Israel were supposed to get the promised land, and that was a huge gift, and yet it came with giants for more lessons in faith, which was spiritual trust and faith.
Yeah.
So
there's definitely metaphor there with the
I think
giants.
there's probably a pattern there. I think you're probably right.
I see that in my life anyway. So, next time I'll be ready, right? Next time I get a big gift coming from God that I'm excited for, watch for the
beauty of the gift of the spiritual part that comes with it. Yeah. So it's not just gift on one level, it's gift on many levels.
And I hope that doesn't make people sound like I'm saying God's capricious or bad. It's Katrina and I love to grow spiritually. It gives us more peace in the long run. So it's basically the gift that keeps on giving. We were able to handle this lesson and
see our growth.
And as a communicator, and our ministry is expanding, we're seeing that now. We have 2 fellowships now on Sunday, one for the Australians as well. And that was a lot of fun. We did that yesterday. It was just 8 hours actually between the 2 groups we did. It was amazing. A lot of people got some great insights and healing that day. And this is a well-timed lesson for me to, not that God's rebuking me or telling me I'm bad or I'm doing terrible. He's just saying, look at the difference there can be in affecting you and other people off of communication being less than clear. So I get that message from him very clearly, and I'm going to go a little slower and be a little more thoughtful. Definitely with the email forwards, but with everything I can, because it can really have a big impact to be extra clear. So that's my lesson. I
always say this, and this is one of the big things that I teach, that slow is fast. It actually is fast, because when we say slow, we can stay connected and we can think better, and we can stay connected to inspiration from God as well. And we make less mistakes that way. And when we do make the mistakes, we find the answer quicker to have it fixed through inspiration. So slow is fast.
Yeah.
If things aren't working out and things are going faster, it means you go slower and lower.
I agree.
And it works. It works.
And absolutely, when things like this happen, everything that went wrong with the treadmill and the desk, the 3 things, they all got resolved without too much heartache, too much expense.
And we stopped and prayed for help, and then Father stepped in and gave the inspirations and the directions for it to help out. And
my point is, with these supplements, they're going to be in my hands the next day or the day after, and it won't make a big difference in the end, but this lesson will be with me forever. So,
and that will make a big difference.
There's no need to beat ourselves up when we make these mistakes, and we're getting a lesson in our mistake. Because the mistake will be corrected. God's good, but the lesson's with you forever.
I love how we're able to be vulnerable and share these things, these everyday lessons, and share them with you, because we want you to see that really the work is just in the everyday stuff that happens, And
we're still making these lessons ourselves and learning and making mistakes.
And that's the whole point. It's not to be perfect. It's not a
destination. It's not. We haven't arrived. It's not a destination. It's a journey, a narrow path.
It's exactly a narrow path where you have to continue to have certain habits that you keep working on getting better at. And life goes better and it goes smoother still stuff comes up to keep working on.
And so I'll say I was able to stay on the narrow path for this incident, meaning I stayed in faith. I didn't start to go, where are you, God? And what did I do wrong? Am I bad? Did you get mad at me? And that's why I'm not getting the supplements faster.
Or did somebody else keeping it from me? Or
those Germans, they did it to me again. What is there? You know, there's some ministers I know that call people idiots, and it really makes me sad when I hear that. But you know, they're doing it again. They think I'm military. I told them, no, I didn't say that. I said, I don't know. I didn't get off the list. They think I'm military still. That's what I said about that, and I'm not surprised. So I didn't blame the Germans. I didn't blame the Australians. I didn't, and I'm still not even blaming myself. I'm saying I didn't even think to include that extra line, and now I know better. If I don't do it again next time because I'm going too fast, then I'll blame myself. You know.
I will too.
Yeah.
But I'll forgive you.
Yeah. You want your supplements too, don't you?
You want me to have those supplements.
Yeah, I do. So I stayed on the narrow path. I don't think we've ever really explained the narrow path very well so far in all of these episodes.
Staying on the narrow path, I think
we haven't defined it, but we are,
in a sense, through each of the podcasts you define it. But
we're characterizing it, but the narrow path is staying in faith, not going outside of love and, lashing out at others, externalizing your pain, projecting on other people. But if something's bothering you, you slow down. You say that doesn't feel good. I was telling you, I'm disappointed. I don't feel good. I'm really confused and I don't understand it. And I told God that too. And so that's the narrow path.
Including God. Not attacking anyone, staying in love towards God, love towards your neighbor as yourself.
And then the answers come so quickly. When you can do that, God can leap in there and, like I say, he swoops in and saves the day last minute, because he doesn't have to withhold anything from you to teach you a lesson that you haven't learned yet, because you're learning the lesson, you're taking your medicine. And also you don't feel so alone in the middle of it. Like, even if you're afraid or you don't disconnect from God ever. Yeah.
You don't disconnect. And that really feels good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It did. And it was good to have you with me too during the process to listen. I made her listen to me, and she made me listen to her today about something that was bothering her. I had to go through what I just explained in this podcast this morning. It's like, when I was trying to understand it, I made her listen about the whole correspondence and what the error was with the forwards. And then I made her listen to me when I said, boy, I feel like a loss here that I caused. And it's a big lesson. I'm not going to make that mistake again, because I believe God just taught me something very deep here. And I have a sense of regret and a sense of loss, and what I've done to other people and what I've did to the whole family, delaying these things. But I processed it, and I said, thank you for the lesson. And I'm so glad you were there with me to listen and let me sink that in and talk it out.
It feels good to be walking this journey together and support one another and slow down and really do that. And it's an honor to be there. Honored to be there with you. And it's great that you do the same and reciprocate. So thank you too. Makes life much better when
we both used each other today for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ever going to do a podcast on what you went through this afternoon with your thing, but
I have
you can do it.
20 podcasts in the back of my head. So one thing at a time.
All right. So this one's complete, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully this really encourages everyone and helps them see that it's doable.
Yeah. Oh, and I want to say, in case anybody from Australia, the whole team, listens to this or listens all the way up to this end, thank you so much for all of your efforts to get those supplements to me. Of course, to the person that funded it and sent them. He knows who he is.
You all sacrificed for us.
Yeah.
And
I apologize to you for whatever thing you hold me responsible for. I hold myself responsible, like I said, for not being redundantly clear in that forward I sent to you down there, and it definitely didn't work out the best. So sorry for wasting any time in that, and thank you for your patience and your support.
And we can't repay the loss, but we can pray that God, who owns it all, will bless you many times over for your sacrifice towards us.
Yep.
We give you deep love and appreciation for what you've done for us, because it's very meaningful. Mm-hmm. Feels like a gift from God coming through you, and that's very meaningful to us.
That says it well. Yeah.
All right, that sounds good. Another podcast for all of you. We bless you all and hope that this helps you in your own everyday lives, encouraged onto good works and onto the narrow path.
Amen. Hey, so this is a quick update to add to what I just said in that podcast about feeling I was being taught by God through this package fiasco. The message that I got from me was to be more careful, more redundant in my communication. And I had a confirmation of that very night after recording this. What happened was Zach had a seizure, and we knew, forget about him going on the bus in the morning, because he always has to sleep more and recover from that. So the problem is the bus comes at 6 a.m, just before 7. And, it's difficult to get a hold of the bus driver with that type of a window to get them to let them know, don't come to the house, save yourself the trip. So I sent a message that night through WhatsApp. I have the bus driver's WhatsApp for such an emergency. And I sent the message and turned off my alarm. And normally she gets the message. She's really good with the WhatsApp. But in this case, in other cases too, I worry that maybe she won't turn on. This is what happened with the bus driver before her. He had WhatsApp too, but he didn't always attend to it very well. So I was concerned that if I turn off my alarm and both of us sleep in with Zachary, that the bus driver is going to come and miss the message and knock on the door and not understand why we're not answering the door. And then we find out later, and you know how it is. It puts people out when something like that happens. And so I don't like that happening to me. And I had the extra thought there lying in bed. Like I said, Katrina, I think I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to put a piece of paper on the door and, post it saying, in German that Zachary had a seizure. So sorry, I tried to call you on WhatsApp, but if you didn't get that, then here's the message. And so I told Katrina, I'm going to do that. I'm going to practice what we just learned. So I'm already in bed. I have to get dressed again, go downstairs, grab a piece of paper, figure out the German to say what I just described, and then get some tape. And, it took me 5 minutes. It wasn't such a big deal. My German's okay to say that, the word is Anfall. I've practiced this enough times in WhatsApp messages to say the same thing. Zach had the Anfall, he's not, doesn't, don't come. So sorry. I tried to tell you on WhatsApp if you're reading this.
But you definitely had to go the extra mile to get out of bed to do it.
Yeah. Normally in the past, I would tell myself, it's fine. Don't, you're overthinking it. And, most likely she's always on top of WhatsApp. And so it's not a problem with her, but I did it anyway. And so we wake up in the morning and I turn on my phone and there's a WhatsApp message from her saying, thank you for your note on the door. Because I had forgot to turn my WhatsApp, my phone on or something. I'd left my phone at the office or something. So, normally she never does that, but she did it this time. And so my heart just sang when I saw that message, thanking me for the note, that it actually, if you make the note and nothing happens, you kind of go, did it for nothing, right? But in this case, I was really delighted that she, for once, did not get to her WhatsApp. And the note on the door did dividends.
And who knows if you were inspired with that thought? Sometimes we have those little thoughts that occur to us to take care of something, and you go back and check the door to see if it's open, or I'm sure I wasn't. What happened was I didn't tell the full story. So I sent her the message, and it said, WhatsApp, it tells you when someone's been online. It said she wasn't even online. And many times in the past at night, it wasn't that late yet. Many times at night, she'll be online and she'll get the message right then and she'll say, okay, message received.
that's good. And then I know I can turn off my alarm, and I always wait for that. But she wasn't responding and didn't look like it was on. So that's why I had the doubt. And, I just had this podcast I just did on God's telling me to be more redundant in my communication.
Wow.
Or I'm learning that it can be very costly if you don't improve the level of your communication with some extra redundancy and clarity. So, this is a perfect redundant communication. They send it through electronic means, and I write it on the old-fashioned means, paper on the door. Sorry, don't knock on the door. We're not going to answer because Zachary's not going on the bus today. So I felt so psyched that, I got the message right, and then God sent a test, and to confirm it. And then she always has her WhatsApp, and she didn't have it on. So the note was not a waste. So it was like a perfect, I think not that I was inspired by God, but rather God was in it to coordinate things. That she didn't turn on her WhatsApp. I could see it wasn't on at that time. So I went the extra mile, did the redundant communication, and I got the reward of seeing that it worked. And she was thankful for it. So,
And we got to sleep.
We got to sleep. She was happy. She wasn't knocking on the door and waiting. And, I'm sure she felt good that someone thought about them enough to put a paper on the door just in case. And then she says, oh, and he did both. She could see the message was there on her WhatsApp as well after she got to the door. So, yeah, that's what it is, God. People that you just, I know that I saw God in my life between taking the time with what we described in the podcast and thinking very deeply about what had transpired and how I could learn from it and do better. And then I know God was there to reward me and kind of encourage me with my repentant actions. And so I just wanted to pass that along to people as a testimony that, when you do this narrow path walk and you take it slow like Katrina teaches, and you decide, you have that moment of kind of introspection and repentance like I described. And God loves that. And God is big time into positive reinforcement. So I got some nice positive reinforcement from God saying, good job. You're not going to be frustrated that you actually applied the lesson the first chance you got. I'm going to make sure that you get the feedback that good going. Thank you for your note.
Yay.
Yeah. So I'm really psyched about that. And I just hope it encourages everyone to keep going, go slow, listen, see what the lesson is, then apply the lesson. And you'll see God show up. He's very happy when we slow down and try to love people better. And communicating better is a way to love people better, so that they get the message, and that people feel the love when you do that, right?
When you communicate well with them, they feel thought of, and what might be important is thought of. It really helps.
Yeah.
I think also, though, with this on top of it is knowing that when you first start a new habit, that sometimes you'll get accomplishment and you go, yay, and sometimes you'll miss it. And so be patient with yourself in the process.
Yeah, that's a good caveat.
Yeah.
But when you get a really inspired lesson like that, and you act on it, I think God, you can expect God to show up, I think.
Totally.
More so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he loves that. He loves to encourage you to good works, like I said, and to tune your ear to whatever he's trying to teach you at the moment. Like Katrina teaches, when you go slow, you can get these instructions from God, and things just work very well when you do that, and then you act on it. That's all God's asking for you to do. It doesn't have to be this mystical. You don't have to be some kind of code breaker for God, and really strain yourself in these things. He's just trying to send simple messages of how to improve,
loving,
to love others better, and be, show people more care and thought and wisdom. That's one of the fruits of the Spirit, is to have that kind of wisdom coming out, that someone's on the ball and they're careful with their communication. It's a good fruit. So I'm glad that God gave me the message, and I got to practice it.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Congratulations, Hanson.
Yeah, thank you. So I hope this helps everyone. I know it will. So keep on doing the same thing yourself with what you hear from God, and you'll see that the blessings will come back to you like that, sometimes that fast.
Absolutely. Sounds awesome.
All right. So until the next time, bye.
Bye.
Put down. Push that again.